Hello, I'm Arjun, founder and CEO of Baton Systems. Welcome to another edition of Core Thoughts. Today, I'll talk to you about the architecture of the Baton platform, specifically why we architected the Baton core using a distributed ledger technology. Before I talk to you about the architectures, let me take a moment to set the context and explain the problem that we were trying to solve. So some history here. Before I started the company, I spent about 18 months meeting with about 30 different banks to understand the problems in the post-trade world, very specifically about the clearing and settlement of large value assets. And I found this across the banks, there was a similar pattern across banks. That is, movement of assets was A, slow, B, expensive, and there's a lot of risk that was involved in moving these assets and a lot of operational delays and operational processes across banks. And the interesting thing is this manifested itself differently, whether it's a sell side versus a buy side or an exchange or a custody bank. Now, I also at that point in time looked at the various flavors of the blockchains, whether be it a public blockchain or a private blockchain. Now, I found that there were some interesting constructs of the blockchain, but I found that it didn't really solve the problems at its very core. And why is that important? I found that you think about the middle and back office systems. These are a set of complex business processes and, more importantly, a set of very complex technology components that play an important role. Not all of this can be completely disintermediated. Now, any system that you built or any improvements that you wanted to bring in the post-trade world, I found out early on that you had to interoperate with existing business processes, existing systems, and importantly, existing legal frameworks that banks are quite comfortable with. This is why we had to think of this from the very beginning and build out a distributed ledger technology from scratch. What we focused on was, number one, interoperability. Now, there are several systems of a bank that you have to work with. One, you have to understand what single sign-on in a bank means, what entitlements in a bank means. So this was a prerequisite from the very beginning. And this is complex when you're talking about one bank, but multiple legal entities within a bank. And it's even more complex when you're talking across banks, because one set of entitlements will not, for one bank, will not work for another bank. So you needed something that can fit in very well with the business processes and the security models of a bank. The other interesting place where interoperability highlights itself is the need for interoperating with the core payment systems of a bank. Now, you can't bypass that because every payment request that's originating or terminating in a bank will have to go through the compliance checks, that's AML, OFAC checks of a bank before it hits the streets. If you bypass that, then essentially the chain is doing something different and it doesn't fit in with the legal frameworks that banks are comfortable with. That is why interoperability is an important thing. So how did we do this? How did we address this? What Baton built is what I'd like to think of as core gateway patterns. Think of these as enterprise integration patterns by which we are able to integrate seamlessly into existing systems of a bank, be it security systems, payment gateways, or post-trade systems like a Calypso or a Murex of a bank. This was not easy, but it was required for us to solve a large problem. Now, the next part of it is building infrastructures and connectivity into the core venues where settlement happens, be it exchanges, be it custody banks, be it Nostro accounts. It was a painstaking effort that we did. We built it brick by brick. We built native connectivity into 10 of the largest exchanges. Today, at this point in time, we cover about 85% of the total collateral that is moved in the cleared world. Baton is capable of moving that. We did that same thing with custody banks. Again, native connectivity to banks. And same thing with Nostros and to Swift gateways. What we essentially got was connectivity in a box, out of the box connectivity to some of these core venues. We also provided gateways by which we will integrate into the existing infrastructures of the bank. So basically, we had connectivity into a bank. We also had connectivity into these venues. Now, the important thing is the middleware. And this middleware is where the distributed ledger technology really shines. Now, what we wanted to do was to make sure that we brought in the three core constructs of the distributed ledger technology, that is transparency, workflow, and auditability. And in the transparency, workflow, and auditability, the most important thing was that we bring in real-time nature and collaboration between parties on that. The real-time nature being important. And this was a game changer in the industry. Where in the industry today, people are used to seeing trading in real time, trading in nanoseconds, but the post-trade systems takes 2 days, even and sometimes even longer. To change that and say from the point at which a trade is made or a trade is confirmed, you're now able to see the life cycle of that and see the exposures and obligations build in real time. And now you can start collaborating with your counterparty on the platform was a true game changer. And essentially, this is what the blockchains claim to solve, but nobody had brought it to this level. And I think the reason why they were not able to bring it beyond a proof of concept is because they did not bring the core constructs of the gateways where you integrate into the core systems of a bank. That's you're able to ingest these trades in real time. You're able to interoperate with their existing payment gateways and the existing post-trade systems, complex post-trade systems, and also provide connectivity into the venues, which is the exchanges and the custodies and the Nostro accounts. By doing the hard work of connecting into the core systems and connecting into the venues, we now made collaboration possible. We made smart workflows or smart contracts really smart and be able to execute this across institutions. So what did we gain by this one? By using distributed ledger technologies, we were able to provide real-time visibilities, provide collaboration. Examples of a collaboration in our core FX would be things like netting, with configured netting windows, be it threshold, frequency, or other settlement options, such as payment upon payment, payment versus payment. These are all different collaborative tools that we were able to provide out of the box. Now, while we did this, it is also important to realize that not every bank is the same. In fact, every bank is quite different from the other bank. And that is what makes them distinct, and that's what gives them the unique competitive advantage. Which means that the workflows that you built needed to be customized from the very beginning. The ability to customize a workflow was important. So how do you customize a workflow but still be able to interoperate with another bank? And this is where we brought in the constructs of a public step and a private step. So I'm happy to explain this in subsequent videos or if there's a topic for discussion with this. But essentially, we provided the ability for a bank to be able to customize smart contracts and fit in with existing business processes of a bank, but still be able to collaborate actively with your counterparty. This, we were able to bring significant benefits to markets by this. Specifically, I talked about the problems. There is high cost, lots of delays, and lack of auditability. What we were able to bring is we were able to cut down the delays significantly. A process that used to take 24 to 48 hours, we were able to bring this into under 3 minutes. Again, this was not sitting outside of your existing systems. This is not a parallel universe that was there. This fit in because we had the gateways and we had the connectivity. This was fitting in with your systems, and it was moving money in the real world. And so we achieved real efficiencies for market participants. The second one is collaboration. Things that most banks were not able to collaborate actively with their counterparties. We provided the ability for market participants to actively collaborate, net this across institutions and see the netting values in real time to be able to do exception management and in a collaborative way across institutions. And lastly, the auditability. This is where we took the core constructs of the blockchain, that is the tamper resistance, the ability to do non-repudiation using a notary, a trusted third party. These are all constructs that we provided from a technology platform out of the box. So we are very excited about the possibilities that this opens up. We do have the option to create tokens as well. That was another thing that we're working on actively. This is something that I'm happy to touch upon in a subsequent video. I think tokens warrants a separate video and a separate discussion. Again, thank you for watching. We are excited about what we've built here. I think the markets are also excited about what we are doing here at Baton Systems. We're very humbled by the efficiencies that we were able to bring to our early adopters. We'd love to talk to you. If you have questions, please reach out to us in the contact information given here. Thank you.